Did Ron Weasley really deserve 50 points for Gryffindor for a chess game? Hey there, wizards. How's it going? Many times, Ron Weasley isn't seen for the true value that his character really has, and that's largely because of the movies, of course, which turned Ron into a kind of comic relief. There, being the funny one and sometimes the scared one, with specific faces and scared expressions. He's the Joker of the trio, right? The one who makes the group lighter, and that's not a bad thing, up to a certain point. But it's an ugly fact that many of Ron's lines and actions were transferred in the movies to Hermione. So all the insecurity that Ron feels for being the sixth child and going to Hogwarts, for being poor, wearing secondhand clothes, not being in a good financial situation, having to go without certain things, considering himself inferior, the hidden jealousy he has of Harry, for being in Harry Potter's shadow. All of that wasn't explored very well in the movies. That's a fact, except in Goblet of Fire, which couldn't really be left out.
Right? Because he gets completely jealous of Harry, and they stop talking to each other because Harry is chosen as the Triwizard Champion.
Ron feels kind of betrayed, thinking that Harry did that on purpose. All these changes in the movie don't explore the character the way he really is in the books. It makes people have this view of Ron that he wasn't that much of a Gryffindor, In fact, there's a portion of fans who believe that Ron should have been in Hufflepuff, which I think is kind of crazy.
Because if there's someone who's a true Gryffindor, that someone is Ron Weasley.
The coolest thing about Ron is that, despite all the insecurity he has, he never stops being a very brave person. And he shows courage in really tense moments. Like, for example, when he stands up for Hermione because Draco insulted her by calling her a mudblood and tries to cast a spell on him. Or when he puts himself between Harry and Sirius at the Shrieking Shack, just with a broken leg, saying that if Sirius wanted to kill someone, he'd have to kill him too. In the movies, that scene was given to Hermione, right? So there are several moments with Ron, like when he saves Harry in the lake because of the Horcrux, right? And destroys it with the Sword of Gryffindor. There are several moments with Ron that show this courage. And maybe the biggest one is during the chess match,
in the challenges to reach the Philosopher's Stone in the first book.
And today, you'll understand why that sacrifice Ron made by putting himself in front of the Queen in chess was so important for Harry to move forward and try to stop Snape, right? Who they believed would reach the Philosopher's Stone was so significant. Ron was an excellent chess player. He inherited his board from his late grandfather, and that made the pieces trust him. So, he played really well, and Wizards chess is practically the same in terms of moves as regular Muggle chess. The difference is that the pieces are enchanted, and they attack each other after the commands. That's where the wizard gives the orders.
If you don't know how to play chess, have no idea how it works, or even if you know the moves but don't really understand the game, and when you watch the movie, you got a bit lost.
I'll quickly explain the function of each piece on the board. Pawns always move forward, and on their first move, each pawn can advance 2 squares, after that only 1, and it captures the opponent's piece always diagonally, 1 square diagonally. The knights, or horsemen, which is the position Ron takes in chess, always move in an L shape, and the knight is the only piece that can jump over other pieces. The rooks, or the more classic name, rook, always move horizontally or vertically, as many squares as are free, and they capture pieces. Exactly like that. The bishop, which is the piece Harry takes, always moves diagonally, and it captures the opponent's piece. In just the same way, the queen moves in all directions on the board. She can move to any square and in any way.
Forward, diagonally, backward, horizontally, and she can move more than 1 square in the chosen direction.
She can't just move like that, forward to one side to the other. It's not the square dance, right? She moves in that direction, chooses a diagonal position. She goes all the way to the end forward. She goes all the way to the end backward if she wants. Right, she can stop on the squares before and capture the pieces. Like that. The king, which is this guy here, can't be captured, because if he is, the game ends and checkmate happens.
He can also move to any square, with the limitation of only 1 square at a time. He moves like the queen, but he only goes one square. He can't go more than one, just one, in any direction. Those are the moves that the chess pieces make.
For you to understand Ron's sacrifice, you need to understand this.
In chess, there are many techniques, theories, and moves, but we're not going to go deep into that because there are so many of them, and it's only important to understand the basics of the moves so we can understand Ron's game.
The rule also says that the white pieces make the first move, and that's what we see when they get to the board, right? They get organized.
Ron takes the place of the knight, Harry takes the place of the bishop, and Hermione takes the place of the rook.
The first move the board makes is to put the pawn on e4, and Ron, in response, puts his pawn on d5,
creating a position that is known as the Scandinavian defense.
The board's white pawn captures Ron's pawn, and from that moment on, the chess pieces start fighting. We see several flashes in the movie of the pieces destroying each other. Ron saves Harry and Hermione several times, as they were at risk of being captured by the other pieces, and they keep advancing in the game. So when the most intense moment of the game arrives, Harry is positioned at square A3, Hermione is at square F8, while Ron is at square G5. And the pieces on the board are in this position. Here, it was the white piece's turn, and the queen, which was positioned at D1, captures their pawn, which was at D3. And then, notice that the queen was now in line to capture the bishop, which was Harry. And, well, we saw how the chess game was, right? Ron even says, yeah, this is going to be just like a game of wizard's chess. The pieces hit the other pieces, but the pieces there were made of stone, and Harry wasn't made of stone. The queen was going to hurt Harry, and judging by how violent things were, it was going to hurt him badly. So, Ron, realizing the imminent risk Harry was in of being taken by the queen, immediately makes a move to try to protect him. By using the rook as bait, he moves the rook from c5 to c3, trying to set a trap there, and a block for Harry.
And the queen, obviously, queen or lady, goes there and takes the rook, once again lining up to take Harry, who was the bishop.
But in all of this, Ron realizes that there was also a line that, as a checkmate to take the king, you notice that the king is cornered.
He's on square G1, and if he moved to square F, the rook, which was Hermione, would take him.
If he moved to square H, the bishop would take him, and if he advanced to G2, the bishop would also take him. So he had nowhere to go.
And then, Ron makes the famous knight move to H3. By the way, I have to emphasize how much I love this part. In the movie, Ron says, knight to H3. I like the dubbed version of this movie, knight to H3. So, alright, Ron went there and placed the knight on H3. Leaving the white king in check, the king had nowhere to go, and if Ron stayed there, the next move would be checkmate. And then, the queen is drawn to the square where Ron was and takes his piece. In the movie, the queen just destroys the knight, and Ron falls, right? But in the book, my friends, she hits him on the head. A real hard blow. A rock to the head. She's made of stone. She hits Ron on the head, so it's serious. When Ron gets hit, he immediately falls unconscious, knocked out. And then, the white queen pulls him off the board. Harry moves to square c5, the position to deliver checkmate to the king. And then, the queen leaves h3 and goes to e3 to protect, to form a line of defense for the king. And then, Harry takes her and delivers checkmate, ending the game. And that's it. They won the game. Ron sacrificed himself there so they could keep going. But when you really understand what happened, you see that Ron's sacrifice becomes even greater. Because if you look at the position they were in before Ron went to h3, you can see that they could have delivered checkmate in 2 moves. And by making the move Ron did, they delivered checkmate in 3 moves. In other words, Ron's move wasn't the best for the position. They were there to win the game, but Ron didn't just want to win the game. He wanted his friends not to get hurt. He wanted Harry not to get hurt. He wanted Harry to move forward. To stop Snape from getting the Philosopher's Stone, Harry, who was in square A3, moving to C5, would checkmate in just 2 moves, because by going to this square c5, the queen would go to Harry to stop him from checkmating the king, and Ron would checkmate right there, with the knight.
On h3, he would place the knight on h3 checkmate, the king. There was nowhere to go.
But if that happened, it would be Harry who would take the hit from the queen. He would be the one attacked, the one who would faint, who would get hurt. And Ron chooses for that to happen to him instead of happening to Harry. Wasn't that move Ron made first the only one that could be made? Another move could have been made. This one could have been made, with Harry going there to c5 and the queen going to take him, and Ron making the h3 move and then checkmating the king. But that move would hurt Harry. The queen would attack Harry. Harry would be out of the game there, just like Ron himself says.
Not me, not Hermione, you.
So, it's with this move, sacrificing himself, putting the knight on h3, that Ron earns those 50 points. For the most brilliant chess game Hogwarts has seen in many, many years. That's why he gets those points. It's not just because he won a chess game. It's not just for that. He sacrificed himself, even though he didn't have to. He chooses to take the hit. He chooses for the piece to destroy him, to hit him, instead of hitting Harry. For Harry to move forward and try to stop what they believed was the army is to stop them from getting the Philosopher's Stone. Look, the greatness. He believes in that. Harry believes in that. Yes, the army. It's him. It's him. It's the army. Him, army. Him, the army. The army. Army. Him, the army. Him, the army. The army is army. He is the army. He is the army. He is the army. Army.
He is the army, is army. Him, the army. He is the army, he is the army, is the army.
Bye, it's responder. Sometimes he's arrogant, but Harry is a very human character, while Ron is too. You know Hermione, she's very smart, yes, but the movies kept making her the know-it-all, know-it-all, know-it-all. That wasn't necessary. If they followed the book, the character is already smart, so they didn't need to add those things.
It's Ron who often explains things about the wizarding world because he has experience in the wizarding world. While Harry and Hermione, well, not Hermione.
Even though she's smart, always researching, studying, and is recognized there as annoying, like a know-it-all.
She doesn't know some things because they're not in books. That come from living in a world, from growing up in that world, from being part of that world, which she and Harry didn't have, you know? So, that's Ron's, and it's completely taken away from him in the movies. So it's in moments like these that we see Ron's greatness. How much of a friend he is, how brave he is, how loyal he is. And the nobility. Do you want anything nobler than that? Nobility is a great trait of Gryffindor House. Do you want anything nobler than sacrificing yourself when you don't have to? Because a lot of people would choose like, oh no man, Harry. You're going to have to, look, this piece here, for us to be able to move forward, you're going to have to make this move here. Look, and then the piece will take you. And then I move forward here, and checkmate. A lot of people would do that. A lot of people would do that. But Ron wouldn't. Ron wouldn't. He sacrifices himself for Harry. So that's why the chess part is so cool. That's why it's so beautiful. And that's why Ron didn't deserve 50 points. No. He deserved 100, 200, 300. He deserved the House Cup handed straight to him because of that. If you like playing chess, you already knew the moves. You already understood Ron's sacrifice.
I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you didn't know about this before, I hope you liked it even more now that you understand the greatness of his sacrifice.
And since we're talking about chess, if there's one thing I really want, it's a board that actually exists. There really is a board where the pieces move by themselves. You play against the board and the pieces move. Man, I would feel like the greatest wizard of all time. But it's really expensive. It's like $500. In fact, there's a wizard chessboard that I received and showed on Instagram. The one I had was high-tech and all, but the pieces didn't move. It just showed the moves, how to play. Really cool.
Now imagine if they made a Harry Potter chess set with pieces shaped like Harry Potter characters that move on their own. If self-moving chess sets exist, they could make a Harry Potter version, right?
All the brand has to do is get the licensing and release it. I would go crazy, and for sure, I would do something wild to buy it, because man, It's really awesome. So that's it.
I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode in honor of Ron Weasley. I'm not kidding when I say that this part, the chess part, is one of my favorites.
Look, I have this piece in my collection here. I have the actual chess set that you saw in the moves. This piece is gorgeous, right? From Iron Studios. Look how beautiful it is, man. Seriously? I love it. I love this chess part. I really do. Actually, I also wanted the classic wizard's chess that appears in the movie, in Philosopher's Stone. Not the chess they play there. In the end, the one that's Ron's, with the pieces, that's actually inspired by a real chessboard that exists in the real world. And it's expensive, really expensive. I wanted one. It's really beautiful. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you liked it, leave your like. And I can't forget to send a shout out to the channel, Raphael Chess, because I watched the analysis of this game for the first time on his channel, and that was what inspired me to make this episode here, talking about chess and showing it here as well. So a big shout out to the Raphael Chess channel.
And if you want to watch amazing technical analyses of chess moves by the great world champions, by the best players, watch his channel, because it's really cool.
That's it, guys. See you next time on Calderon Furado, Mischief Managed.